Wake up, everybody knows your name. Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Thankful Thursday. Today is April 9th, 2020, and we're going to have our final day of e-learning for this week, too. You guys have been doing awesome. Keep it up. Today, I have invited a special guest to join our classroom and to join our videos. Our special guest is coming to us from Gotham City. We're going to have a bat chat. Welcome, Batman. Hi guys, it's Batman. I would like to say thank you, Mr. Elliott, for having me. It's been great to finally get out of my house and out of the bat cave. I, haven't been fighting crime much since there's not a lot of people out and about. So I'm thankful there in Gotham City that the crime is down and I don't have to get out. Batman, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. What have you been doing during this time? You ask, what have I been doing? I have been just staying around my house and having Alfred help me keep it clean, and he's been making me some food, but one thing I've gotten really good at is playing video games. So Batman, do you have any hobbies that you do when you're not fighting crime? Well, I would say that I have some hobbies of driving cars and motorcycles and going really fast, but Mr. Elliott, since everything's kind of slowed down, like I said previously, been doing a lot of video games, been getting outside and working on some exercises and trying to just stay sharp and quick and fast and speedy, just in case I have to fight the bad guys in Gotham City. Batman, would you please, if you had something to say that you wanted to tell our audience and viewers today, what message would you send to our viewers? Do I have a message that I would like to send to your class and your viewers? My message would be just to remember that you are doing everything that you possibly can. Continue to keep up the work that you guys have been doing. Mr. Elliott said you have done great, tremendous work. He's been bragging on you. I would like to say keep up the good work. Keep doing what you're told to do at home. Help out a little bit, and just make sure that you're giving the best effort that you can. I know that this is probably rough, not being back at school, but we're trying to make the best of it. Batman included. I'm trying to do all that I can. And even though I'm not out there fighting crime because the crime is down, I am happy to know that everybody is safe and healthy right now. So please keep it that way. As you can see, I have my handy dandy lunchbox here with me. I brought some good snacks. It's time for Batman to go. I'd like to say thanks for the bat chat. And one other thing. Have a happy last day of week 2 e-learning. Thanks for having me, guys. Here's a glimpse of your homework that you will be completing today. Reading, whereas kids, 2 stories assigned to you. They're Cinderella stories. I ready reading, 20 minutes. And for today and the rest of this week and weekend, you got read 30 minutes. For writing, you got a journal entry, and then you got a Google Docs poem. In math, you've got the application problem in Google Form, and then 2 money word problems in Google Forms, and then please complete Zern for about 15 minutes. Your activity and challenge today is launch lessons that Mr. Walsh has sent out to me. Hopefully this will work, but that will get your homework completed for today, and then have a great week and rest of the week. Man, how about Batman coming to visit us and having a bat chat today? That was awesome. Thank you, Batman. For reading today, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to focus on comparing and contrasting. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to compare and contrast a frog and a toad. I have a story here that gives some comparing details and contrasting details. And what we're going to do is
You're going to listen to me read the story, and then we're going to slide over to my screen, and we're going to take that information into a graphic organizer. You'll see it in a T-chart, and then I'm going to introduce a Venn diagram using the comparing and contrasting details. For our story, it is titled Frogs and Toads. It's pretty short, so just stick with me. People often confuse frogs and toads. Both are amphibians. This means they are cold-blooded. Their temperatures stay the same as their surroundings. Frogs and toads have 4 legs and no tails. They use their back legs for jumping. The legs on frogs are longer. Toads have drier, lumpier skin. Most adult frogs live in or near water. Most adult toads live on land. So within that story, we have some contrasting details, but we have some comparing details. We're here slid over to my screen. As you can see, I have this graphic organizer. We have frogs on the left side, we have toads on the right side, and characteristics. For purposes, I've already listed the characteristics. Characteristics are type of animal, the movement, how they move, types of legs, their body temperature, their size, skin, and where they live. As you look at types of animals, the frog is an amphibian and the toad is an amphibian. Those are comparing details. That is why I've listed them in green. Movements, both of them, green means comparing, both of them move through jumping. We talk about their legs. It said that frogs have 4 legs, as do toads. Again, notice the green color font. Body temperature. Both the frog and the toad are cold-blooded. Now as we look at size, this is where we start getting into some contrasting details. It said that the frog has a longer body, where the toad is a smaller bodied amphibian. When we talk about the skin, it talked about the toad being more of a dry, lumpy, having a dry, lumpy skin. So that means the frog skin has to be more moist or wet compared to the toad, which is dry and lumpy. And then we have the frog lives in or near water, where the toad actually lives on land. Now as you can see, again, this is my graphic organizing T-chart. I'm going to take this information and I'm going to put it into a Venn diagram. You usually see Venn diagrams in math a lot, but we also use this for comparing and contrasting. So you can see that I'm going to back it out just a little bit. Okay, I have this circle right here, and then this circle. There's 2 circles. Where they meet, it creates a middle, and that is how those 2 particular amphibians, the frog and the toad, are alike. This first circle right here is for the frog. The second circle over here is for details and characteristics from the toad. Now I always label down here at the bottom how these 2 stories or 2 characters, or in particular today it's animals, how they're different. So these sections where the circles do not overlap are contrasting details. And we're going to take from my graphic organizer, you can see I've listed the different characteristics: amphibians, jumping, longer, dry, lumpy, 4 legs, land, water, smaller, moist, and cold-blooded. And then they're going to drag into where they need to go. So the first one that we're going to talk about is amphibians. Amphibians are for both of them. A frog and a toad are both amphibians. So instead of going on each side of the circle, it slides into the middle where the circles overlap and create that third little oval, or that oval. The second characteristic is jumping. Both of them, they have movements through jumping. A frog is longer. We got dry and lumpy. The toad is the one that is dry and lumpy. As you can see, my next characteristic is 4 legs. It's going to go into alike. Those are comparing details. If I go to land right here, the toad is the one that lives on land, so he is a contrasting detail, where the frog will live on or near water, in or near water. The toad has the smaller body. The frog has moist skin. Okay, so moist and dry and lumpy are the 2 details that I got for how their skin is, but you can tell that they are both contrasting details, where they live in water or near water on land, and then the size. The frog's longer than the toad is smaller. And the last thing is both the frog and the toad, these amphibians, are cold-blooded. This is a Venn diagram. What I did is I took the graphic organizer and I used that information to get my characteristics, and then I put the characteristics in a Venn diagram so we could see the comparing details and the contrasting. Again, comparing details are in the middle under a like, and the contrasting details are on the outside of the circle under their respective animals, and they are different. That is a Venn diagram. We just went over a Venn diagram over a frog and toad. You were able to look at the graphic organizer, see how I took those characteristics and turned that into a Venn diagram where I used the characteristics to compare and contrast the frog and toad. Today, for reading and your homework, you have assigned 2 stories out of Raz Kids. You're going to be listening to Cinderella and to another story that is called Cinderella. It is kind of similar, but it's totally different than the normal Cinderella. You then have I Ready. I want you to do I Ready reading for about 20 minutes today, and then homework for today and the rest of this week is to read 30 minutes. Don't forget to update your reading log, and then just keep reading, guys. This week we've been focusing on poems, and you guys have been doing acrostic poems. On Tuesday you did an acrostic poem on your name. Yesterday you did an acrostic poem for your favorite color. Today we're going to do a free poem. It's just going to be a poem that you're going to write on your own, but I am going to give you some words that I want you to include in your poem. You got to include those however you feel fit, and create your own poem. I want to see how creative you can be. Now remember, a poem does not have to rhyme. You know, a lot of poems that we read in class, they do rhyme, but not all poems rhyme. So here is an example of a poem that I just quickly wrote down just to give you an example, and then I'm going to give you about 4 words that I want you to include in your poem. So here's the poem that I wrote. The sweet fresh air, wind blowing in my hair, smell of fresh cut grass, makes nature such a blast. I love the sights and all the sounds, the animals play again and again every day. That is my poem. Again, it's just a poem that I made up. I was just trying to be creative. I'm going to give you 4 words that you must include in your poem, and then you're going to be as creative as you can. Include the words where you feel fit, and that's going to be your writing assignment, is going to be to create a poem. And then don't forget to do your journal entries. You're going to write your poem. I gave you 4 words. I picked 2 words that are pretty easy, pretty common words that you can use, and then I picked 2 other words that you've got to fit into your poem. So your 4 words for your poem that you need to include is the word I, day, play, and a. So again, those are I, day, play, and a. Happy poem writing, guys. Let's quickly recap what you need to do for writing today. Again, for writing, you need to have a journal entry that you've been sharing with me on Google Docs, and you've got a free poem. You're going to make up your poem, but you need to include those 4 words that I asked you to include. Don't forget, keep a journal the rest of this week and weekend. Happy writing.